Hello everyone, good morning, or whatever time you're making it here. This is your reading for Monday, St. Patty's Day, March 17th. So, let's see, with 3 cards, my intention is to get to the truth as to what would be the most helpful for what we need to know for today. And I am using the Light Seers Tarot. And I decided to leave the cards upright so that you can dive into the artwork because it's quite fantastic. She held pretty darn close to the Rider-Waite-Smith, but it seems to be like a more evolved version. Ooh, okay. King of Swords popped out. There we go. So for in the morning, there we go. Let's keep going. We still need our theme for the day and then the evening, afternoon, evening. Right there. Okay, King of Swords, 9 of Wands is our theme. So it's about endurance mostly, and even if you're feeling kind of tired. I mean, it's Monday, but maybe you had a big weekend. And then we have the Hermit. And the 8 of Swords wanted to fall out, so I might bring that in. Let's see. Okay. So just thinking in long-term vision for the day, when we have the 9 of Wands come through, we have a vision that is, we've put a lot of passion into it. We've been working. We've put our courage, we used our courage to put ourselves out there. We've been really persistent, and we're having to hold firm to our faith. That's what the endurance is all about. Perseverance and endurance are hallmarks of the, and resilience as well, are hallmarks of the 9 of Wands. And it's a Sag card, Moon and Sag. So we really, we're moving forward with the power of our body and soul, and we really have put our faith into something. And so Sag is all about the intuition. If you want to use Sag energy the best, it's all about getting on your path, letting yourself be inspired, letting yourself search, follow your intuition, follow your curiosity even, because, Gemini's the opposite sign, the opposite polarity. So a lot of times our curiosity will get us going on our path. And then Sag energy can be really good for focusing, although both Gemini and Sag are the polarity of mutable energy. So it's more assimilating and adaptable and flexible, and it's all about usually being pretty resourceful. So that's where we get the courage from here. But it can change. Things can change with any of the mutable signs. So I would say it's mostly just, keep on keeping on, going in the direction that you're drawn. I think in terms of expanding your opportunities. Think in terms of searching for maybe you've had a veer in your path and change has been coming, because we are in the eclipse season, and it's normal to get new information and then make changes, or new opportunities come in and you go, oh, I'd never thought of that. And, so allow yourself to go wherever you want to go. And just try things out. Now, the King of Swords, the first thing in the morning, this is that high vision of maybe you wake up in the morning and you have a number of things that you want to get done. But you realize you're going to need wisdom. We've got the owl here to remind us of that. You're going to need your intellectual, your ability to reason which way might be the best, so that we're not, working too hard, so that we're not feeling beat up by the end of the day. Because remember, with the 9 of Wands, it's all about endurance and persistence, and the faith to you staying on your path. But if you're looking at things from the top of the mountain, or at least from some type of a higher perspective, and you're thinking in terms of what can I create? We have the oh my goodness, like the damselfly, or I'm totally forgetting what the name of the. I absolutely love them. They're my favorite creatures. Oh well, it'll come to me in a minute probably. But we have the bat for rebirth. We have the owl for wisdom, and he's up at the top, but he's kind of looking down and wondering, okay, what is the best way? And I think for today is just to get the day organized in a really good way. And of course the raven up here, raven or crow, whichever you want to call it. I see it as the keepers of spiritual law. I absolutely love birds. Yeah. So dragonfly, that's it. Damselfly, dragonfly. They don't remind me of dragons. That's why I always forget their name. But I love it when I see them. Yeah, so anyway, keywords with the King of Swords, something you can hold on to when you're trying to remember, is having your thought processes really clear. So clear thinking, intellectual power, being in your authority because you're asking for the truth. And it's often the card of, teachers, professors, attorneys, anybody that is always going for the truth. Now, I didn't allow for reversals, so if you have any trouble with this card, it could be somebody manipulating things to their advantage and not telling the truth. So if there's something like that going on, you're going to want to, hang in there and just keep asking for the truth. Now, and that'll bring in the wisdom eventually. Now, with the Nine of Wands, if, in the reverse position, this card could be just having us feeling kind of defensive and hesitant, which would be the right way to receive this kind of energy if it were reversed from the King of Swords, right? You have the courage to stay on your path and just always take things inside, take them into your intuition and know that you have that power. And I believe that's why the Hermit is here. I love the Hermit in this deck. The artwork is like, no, you don't have to climb up to the top of the mountain or go into a cave, or you don't have to, the light is inside of you. If people could just get that, all of the divine wisdom or all of our systems of divination usually will confirm what you already know inside. Now, sometimes we have tons and tons of opportunities, and so we don't know which way to go, like which would be the best for now. But if we go inside, because the Hermit is ruled by Virgo, so if we go along, going inside and then trying to figure out like what is the right time for this, because you can have tons of opportunities thrown your way. Or maybe you're seeing things from that higher perspective and you're wondering, what should I put my fight into? Well, you have to always ask, when we go inside, and this is what the Hermit is so good for, when we do that deep soul searching, which is the hallmark of the Hermit card, oftentimes we're asking, well, what can I actually do? Because we can have all these visions about what we want to do, but then we can only do so much at one time. So it's specific as to what we really can do at any given time is where to focus our energy. And so the divine order of the Virgo, energy is that's the ultimate. So yeah, okay, let's look at the astrology. And here we go. I wanted to focus a little bit on today because I've been, and this is a good day to do it. I've been a little negligent with talking about Jupiter and Gemini. We've been focusing on so many other things, but So this is 5 a.m. Pacific time. The moon's in Scorpio. Just to go over that real quickly, the moon, besides being in Scorpio, is square Pluto. So we may very well have some clashes with people who think they're in power, or we are making decisions based on the fact that some people in power are abusing their power, and we have to avoid crisis, which is a very good Scorpio trait. And body parts ruled by Scorpio are our reproductive system, so we're talking women's reproductive rights here. There may be some decisions about, where you're going to move to, if you're going to move, how you're going to take care of your daughters, granddaughters, things like that. Because oftentimes a square will bring in the need to make a decision, very often. Okay. So back over here to Jupiter and Gemini. Jupiter expands whatever sign it's in. Okay, so in Gemini, it's all about curiosity and learning new things, but it can also be about avoidance. The challenging side with Gemini is that it can be distraction and avoidance. Same thing with Virgo. Virgo used in the wrong way can also be avoidance. That's one of those things we always have to be careful. It can have us down those rabbit holes of thinking that we need to be perfect, before we can land that job, when really the happiest job you may ever be in would be working for yourself, or working for somewhere where they don't mind training you because it's some brand new position. So anyway, back to Jupiter and Gemini, we have the square. Now, it's a building square from Ceres. Saturn has already done its thing for a little bit, but it's going to go back. That's the thing is we have a situation with Jupiter and Saturn, the two builders of the zodiac. So Jupiter opens things up, and then Saturn is the testing planet, and it sometimes delays things. So with Jupiter square, the Saturn, that foundational, square that we've been having off and on, it's going to tighten back up again in June. We've got a little bit of relief, but now we have the square to Ceres. And again, remember, Ceres is all about protecting ourselves, nurturing ourselves, thinking with the big picture, and it goes very well with, and of course we have the trine over to the moon, so the moon is helping us today. The moon will illuminate anything that we need to be thinking about for the future to protect ourselves. We're talking food, farming. We've got the trine to Saturn and Mars in Pisces and Cancer, so again, the food issues, stocking up, sharing whatever, learning new recipes, things that you could create at home, growing foods at home, right? There's so many opportunities and possibilities, and that's what all this Pisces energy is about. It's about opening up to a whole different perspective that you may have not thought about in the past. So here we have the opportunity disguised as a challenge with the square coming from Ceres to Jupiter. So Jupiter's been sitting there in Gemini for quite some time. It's midway throughout the sign, or through the sign, so we're in that phase of learning lessons, which is between 10 and 19 degrees of any sign is learning lessons. So we've been learning a lot, and information has been coming out more and more. For some of us, we've gone through and may even continue to go through more grief and separation, because with Ceres, any planet actually, in Pisces, we're always running the risk of being victimized, being gaslighted or gaslit. With the square to Jupiter, we have to be careful about spiritual bypassing. And if you don't know what that's about, or gaslighting, just Google it. There's so much material out there. But basically, short story is with the, and maybe that's why we had the King of Swords come in, because it really is about getting clear. Getting clear on our path. Because when it comes to spiritual bypassing, that is, and that's with the South Node in Virgo, that's a real possibility. And then with the opposition to Neptune, again, a real possibility. So bottom line, spiritual bypassing has to do with being distracted to things that, or by things that are interesting, but they cannot help you on your path because you have zero control over what that is. And so you have to ask yourself, why? Like, what's the draw? What's pulling you in there? And whatever answer you get would be what you explore and work your way through it, and then maybe you're not attracted in that direction anymore. So same thing with when it comes to gaslighting. Somebody really just trying to control you. These forces of control are challenging when it comes to the mutable planets, because we can be pulled all over. And we have so much mutability going on with Jupiter in Pisces, with the South Node in Virgo. When the moon makes it to Sag, we'll have a lot there. And then all this Pisces energy it's very mutable. You can be all over the place, and we really have to be strong and firm to take self-responsibility for ourselves. We're the ones that need to make the decisions about the direction we go. And I guess my best wanting for you guys to understand is that if you always go, especially us women, if we always make our decisions for the long term, and what brings us more and more and more every step of the way towards our autonomy, then we will be doing about the best that we can. Right? When you just think about it, it's like what brings financial security into your life where you can make your own decisions and it's not based on what somebody else says. You know what I mean? Either some husband or boyfriend or fiduciary or blah, blah, blah. What about you? What's your part in this? Because otherwise we can set ourselves up for betrayal. With the moon in Scorpio, these are all these things to be considering over the next couple of days. But back to the moon in Scorpio. So it's, for all intents and purposes all day, we're in that developing foundation stage. Okay, from 0 to 9 degrees. And we're going to want to be careful if you want to go out and celebrate St. Paddy's Day. Things could be really intense, and especially like, a bar scene kind of a thing. This energy is not so good, but it's only just for the morning. So later on in the evening, it should be better. It should be better, except we still have, the moon in Scorpio. I still think it's going to be okay, because as long as you don't overdo it, because the moon's going to oppose Uranus, but that'll be in there tomorrow. Yeah. Which there could be quite some insights. This could be really good for doing some deep spiritual work and figuring out where you want to go, because Scorpio is really good for controlling ourselves once we figure out what we want, and really trusting ourselves too. It's a very psychic sign. It's good for regeneration and transformation and going deep, but it can be challenging on the levels of trusting others and not going deep enough. Yeah. Crisis management is very good with Scorpios. A lot of Scorpios, a lot of nurses, doctors, firefighters. There's strong Scorpio there. a lot of times. So yeah, and then everything else has been the same. We still have the aspect of the architect hinging down here on Uranus. So it is all about change, changing in our values to accommodate what brings in safety and security in the future. So, okay, well, that's it for today. We'll be back later. Bye.